I know you guys are tired of it, but I keep saying this every week that the latest episode of Solo Leveling keeps getting more and more amazing. When you get peak episodes like this, it gives a whole new meaning to the bodies hitting the floor, heads will be rolling, because a lot of that happened here. To see how the first half of the episode, you have all these hunters, most of them leaders of their own guild. They're the strongest in all of South Korea. So it's a team of all of them up against the queen, and they do a marvelous job working together and taking on the queen. Well, that is until the new ant king, queen, whatever you want to say, the new ant ruler comes up in the party. It's like, well, you guys took down the queen, and just takes them down one by one at a time. And it just ends up being just so much of a one-sided fight that it's not even close. You kind of got to give some credit to Jinwoo. So before, which I didn't really touch on this last episode because I kind of wanted to talk more about it this time. So Jinwoo decided not to go on their raid, mainly for the fact that he felt that they were strong enough to actually win this without his help. And he could utilize the time to spend with his family. Not to mention, he has the new soul exchange ability, so, you know, push comes to shove, he can show up. Which, as we can see at the very end of this episode, he does. The long and short of it is, he was correct. If it wasn't for the fact that this anomaly is happening with this new ant showing up, they went in, took down the queen, and honestly would have been able to leave. It would have been a mission success. I don't know if they would have had any casualties at all, because the only real casualties came into play when this new ant that comes and is so powerful that he just kind of is taking heads with them. So Jinwoo was correct. They would have had no problems. They would have been able to do it without him. He would have, of course, been like, you know what? I would have missed out on levels, but it's no big deal. If it wasn't for the fact that it's one ant, they were good. But alas, this ant has decided to show up and show out. So this new ant that's showing up has not come out with a name yet. So yes, I do know what his name will be, and I'm not going to name him that at this moment in time because we don't know. I mean, his name is not disclosed, so technically that would be spoilers. So we'll just call him like a very powerful ant because, yeah, he's looking for the king and the king of all humans, if you will. And poor Goto thought he was somebody, and they actually deleted a small scene out of there because in the actual manhwa, you see Goto, you know, has his sword, he goes with it, and it does the same thing where the sword gets cut in half, but the manhwa kind of shows out his head rolling afterwards. They did a really good job of showcasing that. It's like, he's like, this reminds me of something, of somebody, this feeling. Yeah, you need to worry about living than worrying about the feeling. And he doesn't last long. So for a king, if you will, yeah, there wasn't much their fight. But I do gotta say that Goto is so underhanded. I mean, come on, the Japanese, if you were wondering why the Japanese is like, hey, why are they helping all of a sudden? Because they didn't help in previous raids. This is the 4th raid on Jeju Island. All of a sudden, the Japanese are like, okay, we're gonna help out this time. Now, of course, on the surface, you're looking at the fact that, oh, they're helping out because, you know, now the ants have wings, they're attacking the actual Japanese area, so the Japanese are stepping in now. Nah, that's just a side benefit. The true benefit is they wanted to weaken South Korea's hunters. They wanted the fact that if the South Korean hunters perished or didn't make it, that Japanese neighbors is like, oh well, such a shame. They could take the glory from the raid going well. They could take the glory from the fact that, oh, the media is going to paint them out as the actual heroes while South Korea's hunters pass away, the strongest hunters didn't make it. So that was like their true goal, is just to weaken the hunters of a neighboring country. Which at first was like, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it makes sense on two fronts. One, in the global scale and global stage, you want to be a nation that has more S-rank hunters than your neighbor. Also, the second thing is, think of the business that will come into play. if you as a nation don't have S rank hunters or have strong hunters to clear out these gates, dungeons, whatever you want to call it, then you have to look elsewhere. So you have to employ neighboring countries' hunters. I can see that the Japanese organization is looking at the business sense of things as well as the to weaken a neighbor. So if this happened like in the real world, that will definitely happen in today's time, where it's like, you guys were a nation that was very strong with a lot of S rank hunters, but then all of a sudden they're not. Well, then guess who has S rank hunters? Well, I guess you guys are gonna have to, pay some money to us in order to help clear your gates. It sucks that they're painting out the Japanese organization to be so evil, but hey, this is a South Korean story. So Cha-Hei waifu stocks are on the rise, so buy now so you can get your money back later. Because Lord knows there's a lot of waifus in this anime, and they keep showing quite a few of them in different parts, even in this episode. But Cha-Hei went into this episode, and the way her fighting style was definitely way better than the manhwa could capture it. Because I've said this before, her fighting style, this dance, the way that she actually goes about with this sword is just so beautiful when it's animated versus reading it in just a manhwa. But when she was attacked by the powerful ant in the anime, it definitely showed how gruesome her damage is. Like in the manhwa, you can see they were just showcasing like she got attacked, she got hit, and then flew away. But it didn't really show how visceral it was. They kept saying like she's in critical condition, but you didn't really see how critical she was. But this episode, I see how, I'm like, oh my God, she got hit hard. I also wanted to point out the music in this episode. The music in this episode was absolutely amazing. Like, they did a very good job. If you notice, before they were fighting the Ant Queen, there was a huge like day crescendo. It was going down very softly, like almost to music was almost away. I was like, dang, they took away the music. But then all of a sudden they were like, all right, Cha-Hei, go in. And then all of a sudden, here comes the crescendo. The music just goes way out. She's slicing the queen up. It's like, yes. So you get that excitement up until the ant comes in. And then the ant comes in, there's that dynamic of the music. He's just going to town on them. And it's like, oh, it's so much pain. As far as differences, like there wasn't any real big differences. There were some slight ones here and there. Like for example, the buffs that the healer guy gave, it was more specific than just like an all around buff to everyone. There was small stuff, nothing that would really be changing the dynamic of the actual show. But I did want to talk about the healer guy. Imagine if he didn't show up. Like he was trying to decide whether or not if he should go onto this raid itself, and he was like, you're really tossing and turning like, should I go, should I? Yeah, imagine if he didn't. I like the fact that he actually did. It's like, thank you. He really saved the day for a lot of them and made the fight a lot easier against the queen until the ant came and took care of things. So I gotta give it to him. S rank healer, he did the best he could, pour one out for our homies. Not only was he speared, gets his head eaten, and then his body tossed to his friend, which was just so cold to do that against, your best friend, you're the one you ride or die, and then all of a sudden they just get taken out like that. You're like, oh man. It was really cool to see the animal beast transformation from our leader of the White Tiger clan. And you gotta see why they're called the White Tigers, because, yeah, the fact that he actually transitioned from his red hair and his glowing, instead of just parts of him transforming, he had the full body transformation. Although there was one different change in the way that he got attacked. When he got attacked by the ant in the manhwa, he just kind of got attacked on the shoulder area, while in the anime, he just got attacked all over. So, man, the hype and build up that they've done at this moment in time is paying off. Next week's episode is going to be even better. We only got a couple more episodes before the season is over, but man, I cannot wait till we finally get to see how they decide to end the season, what they decide to do for next season. So anyway, tell me what you guys liked about this episode. I thought it was pretty good. Chahei looked amazing, but you know, feels bad for the healer. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed for more, because we'll definitely discuss other anime and this one here on the channel as things are starting to wrap up. But we will be here to discuss and see what is going on in the future. You guys be safe. You take care, Lord willing. I will see you next time. I will see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.